Hello, good evening, and welcome to the first World Cup edition of the CantinaMX podcast. World Cup started for everybody today, Thursday, June 14th, 2018. Russia 18 is upon us. The most glorious month every 4 years, World Cup month. Should be a lot of fun. Looking forward to it. Looking forward to sharing our thoughts with you, our wonderful audience, and of course, looking forward to discussing this with our esteemed panel of guests that we have always had here at the CantinaMX podcast. It is no different tonight as it ever is, so let's get right to it. Our first game today was Russia 5, Saudi Arabia 0. I don't think anybody was terribly surprised about that, and we'll talk about, of course, Mexico's chances in their upcoming game against Germany, if they even have a chance. And we'll see where we progress from there. My name is John Jagu. Glad to have you with us. We are live every Thursday on YouTube. You're listening to us there right now. And, of course, if you didn't catch us live, you can listen to this by downloading it from the Podcast Center on your phone at iTunes and also in Google Play. You can subscribe to it, and that way you don't have to download it at all. It'll automatically, magically appear on your phone once Chiquis uploads it to their server. Let's go ahead and introduce the panel. We have with us, I'm in Lake Travis and Lakeway in the western part of Boston, over in the southeast part of the greater Austin metropolitan area. We have with us Albert El Chiquis Campa. Albert, how are you, sir?
What's up, John? Doing good. Glad to be on. Exciting game today.
Yeah. Did you get up at 7 a.m. and start watching the coverage?
I don't know if that early, but yeah, I had it on pretty much all day.
Yeah, European World Cups are like Christmas. You know, you can get up in the morning and run into the living room and see what gifts of goals you will get as the day unfolds. It's a lot of fun. Glad to have you on with us, Chiquis, over in Los Angeles, California, or maybe Orange County. I'm not sure where. Maybe an undisclosed location as far as we know. Joining us is Joel Aceves. Joel, how are you, sir?
Good, John. Very good. Glad to be at this World Cup edition of the Cantina.
Now, Joel, I remember reading an article. I think it appeared in it may have even been like the Los Angeles Times, but I know it was a big time article.
Yes.
where they quoted you as saying that you live your life in 4-year procesos. So is this now the culmination of another proceso in the life of Joel Aceves?
It is, man. It is. Because, this is my first World Cup as a married man, John. So,
Joel,
yes.
are we breaking news here on the CantinaMX podcast?
No, yeah, it's old news, but we talk about like what each World Cup brings, you know.
Yes, absolutely. Now, Joel, have you started working on your apologizing now that you're a married man?
I apologize unreservedly. I offer a complete and utter retraction. The information was totally without basis in fact and was in no way fair comment and was motivated purely by malice.
See, you have to really get it in, as you were saying.
No. My thing was similar to the Argentine guy. I don't know if you've seen the clips. When they're talking about going to a wedding.
Oh, yes. He's
like, well, I can't do that because Mexico plays that day. And he's like, but it's not even Argentina. And he's like, it doesn't matter. There's about 3 clips. They're pretty good if anyone hasn't seen them yet.
Yeah, that is actually a very funny clip because she's talking about her cousin's wedding, right? And it's like, who schedules a wedding in June in a World Cup year? You know, he's like, what? He just goes on and on. It's like, you know, just incredulous that somebody would make some sort of social event like that during a World Cup. We're glad to have you with us, Joel. We'll talk about the Russia Saudi Arabia game and of course the World Cup in general here with you momentarily. But we can't do that without introducing our next 2 guests. First of which is in Long Island, if I'm not mistaken. Rigo Ayala joins us. Rigo, you're now like internet famous for your the stuff you've done with Copanani. Congratulations, man.
Oh, thank you guys. How's everyone doing?
Glad to have you on with us.
Glad to be on. Yeah, man. I just been doing. I've done a lot of Copa 90 stuff, and it's pretty cool.
Now, when you get up, do you feel that you're now having to kind of look over your shoulder for the paparazzi? Make sure that they're not catching you going to private parties in Lomas de Chapultepec with well-known
with escorts,
with well-known sports figures.
You know, it's. Hey, I'm starting to get the. Hey, I thought I saw you in a video. Was that you? Or I thought I heard you on a podcast. Stuff like that, which is pretty cool.
Yeah. Hey, I saw you looking in my window.
Well, like Michael Myers.
Right. Well, we're glad to have you on. Just before we introduce Ron, I know you got a chance to watch the Russia-Saudi Arabia. Did it hamper your expectations at all, though, the result of that game?
Not really. I mean, I figured Russia was going to win. I thought it was going to be like not a great game. I enjoyed the two last goals were great. The one where he hit it with the tres dedos,
right,
and then the free kick were great. So I mean, it was at least the goals were entertaining.
Isn't that all we can ask for? Is to be entertained?
Yeah, I mean, it's a good way to start.
Russia, Saudi Arabia.
Yeah, at least it's a good start.
Well, I mean, it certainly put Russia at an advantage in the group, and we'll talk about that here in a second because I'm not so sure that everyone's going to be able to beat Saudi Arabia. Well, who knows? But I mean, but Egypt now is going to have to score a partial goals if they think that they have a chance to advance, which we'll discuss here in a second. But we cannot continue our podcast without introducing our last member who is with us. He had a step away for a second, but is now back. Joining us from Philadelphia is Ronnie De Luna from. Are we in North Philly, Ron, or West Philly? What part of Philly? I
was actually heading back home. I was in East Falls at a bar.
East. So what part of Philadelphia do you live? Are you in Philly proper?
East Falls is not North Philly. I would say more like it's like if you're familiar with the Parkway, like. Like the Rocky, steps and stuff like that.
Right.
It's like, right up, you're going towards like the Schuylkill River, more like on the ridge. There's like a ridge linking.
So like by the road, like by Kelly Drive.
Yeah, by Kelly Drive.
That's a nice part of town.
Yeah, it is. Just went to go see some.
What are you doing? What are you doing on this podcast? Oh, you were just there, so you don't live there. That's just where you.
No, I don't live there.
Okay.
I don't live there. No, I live in University City.
Oh, okay. University of Pennsylvania.
Yeah, around there.
That's a little rougher.
No, actually, it's not. It's West Philly. That's the rough part.
Is it? I always thought the UP was in West Philly.
No, UP. Well, UP really rides. It's almost like it's in Center City, dude. Like University of Pennsylvania, dude. They have purchased so much, and they've built this area like to the point where It's the same old fights of gentrification and stuff like that. So I mean the areas, since I've been in Philly now 13 years I think now. Mm-hmm. The area is just transformed tremendously. Impresionante. It's impresionante. You're right. It's impressive.
Hang on a second. Good Lord.
Hello, BBC.
I just want to make sure I get that.
It's no longer BBC. It's Sage. It's Sage.
Me estoy avergonzado.
Crickets.
Okay, all right. Well, good to have you with us, Ron. It's because I lived in Philadelphia, but I lived in the in like the, I guess like the northern. I was in Montgomery County. I was only there for a year.
Oof.
And even going back, I went back like 2-3 years ago, and you're right. It was just it was totally different when I was there in the early '90s. Just a completely different place.
Oh, don't get me wrong. There's, in my opinion, there's a lot more bad places than good places in Philadelphia.
Mm.
A lot.
Right.
I mean, some of these places look like you're in a third world country. It's pretty bad.
Yeah, I can certainly say that about my neighborhood here, Lakeway, as well. In Austin. That's not right. Okay, let's talk World Cup.
You got Dano.
Did Dan hop on? I didn't even see Dan. Good Lord, I'm sorry, Dan. I did not realize that you had hopped on. My apologies, Dan.
It's okay.
I didn't realize that you were on. I have to.
I know you were starstruck with the East Coasters and their fancy way of living and
it's funny.
we
have all coasts represented tonight. We have the East Coast, and we have the West Coast, and we have the third coast, the Texas coast represented tonight on the podcast. A full deck, as it were. So this should be a very entertaining show. Did Dan? The game was a little earlier for you. Did you get a chance to watch, or were you peeking in while you were
I
at the
did.
office?
As luck has it, my son's school is off the rest of this week, so it allowed me. I was watching him today at home, so I managed to catch the match.
Yeah.
Surprising. I didn't think. I thought it was going to be a pretty even match. I didn't think too much of either team, but yeah, Russia surprised me. They put themselves in a good position to qualify, at least initially.
Now
they got the two big tests coming up.
Did the little guy that got the last goal on the free kick, whose name is eluding me at the moment, did he play against Mexico in the Confed Cup, or is he a new addition? Because he's terrific. He's a really good player.
Yeah, I don't know who. I don't know if he was part of that team or not. But no, the finishes were impressive, for sure. I mean, I have to say I did draw. I think everybody kind of saw not everybody saw, but just thinking man, if it goes bad, that's how it's going to happen. Just because with the turnovers, the way the Saudi Arabian team just kept giving the ball away in their own half, and just immediately, I mean, gosh, the amount of chances they had was incredible. So yeah, it got me a little spooked a little bit. I'm like, I hope these guys really are just super focused come game time.
Yeah, well, they were certainly able to regain their focus now that they've been in Russia for a bit. But I mean, I really do think that that kid who got that fifth goal really was the big difference maker for the Russians today. A player that they didn't seem to have. I don't know if he was available. That's why I really would like to check that to see if he was around, because that was almost like a different Russian. Of course, they are playing Saudi Arabia, but he does.
Alexander Golovin.
Yeah.
Let me try to look him up.
All right. So what does that do to the rest of the group then? I mean, it makes Egypt have to get points from Uruguay, whether it's a win or a draw, for sure. I mean, they have to have that, and unfortunately for Saudi Arabia, they're going to end up having to be a punching bag if teams need to get their tiebreaker looking a little better. So it could be. I just don't know if anyone's going to put 5 past Saudi Arabia again. That's where I think Russia gives himself a huge advantage in this group, especially if they end up tied on points with Egypt. I don't think Egypt has 5 goals in them like that to advance past them. Just my personal opinion. Joel, do you did you have Russia advancing? Well, let's take a look. I actually have. I have our picks from right after the draw, and it's actually looking at a little sales receipt. This is hilarious. And let's see. So, Chiquis, you said Uruguay and Russia. Joel said Uruguay, Russia. Dano said Uruguay, Egypt. John said Uruguay, Egypt. Let's see. What did Ron say way back when? Ron had Uruguay, Russia. So all of y'all are expecting Russia to advance. So this result that should come as no surprise at all to anybody.
Yeah, the only surprise was the 5 goals. We were looking at a Russia team that was on, I think, 7-game winless streak. So I didn't think they were going to win by such a lopsided result, or I should say probably that Saudi Arabia would be that bad of a team. And I forgot they had Pizzi as coach, coming fresh off of his Chile fracaso in eliminatorias.
Right.
So that was also interesting to see. I was John, and I was because I had to drive home in the morning, so I was listening to the radio for the first half. Fútbol de Primera had pretty good coverage.
Yeah, it's Fútbol de Primera. You know, for folks that don't know, that's Andrés Cantor's little company. So he's had the rights to the World Cup on the radio ever since he was no longer part of Univision, started in the 2002 World Cup. So he's been calling World Cup games for this all along, and it was good to see him back calling World Cup games on TV. But I would have to say that that Andres has had better games called. I think that he didn't seem, in my personal opinion, as didn't have as much as the energy as he's shown in the past, and that's.
He wasn't doing it for the radio though.
That's a very good point. He is certainly, and you have to be a lot more descriptive.
Yeah.
On the radio.
I think I'd have to agree with you, John. I think in the past couple of years, the Univision team has done a lot better, with the play-by-play and stuff like that. Because I thought that they were a little bit boring today.
Well, it's funny because in the 2012 Olympics and 2016 Olympics, he was outstanding. I mean, and don't get me wrong, he is outstanding. Just that for whatever reason today, it just seemed like his energy wasn't. And a lot of it, I think, has to do with the fact that the game just, wasn't a real, a very attractive, first game for a World Cup. I mean, let's face it. I mean, there's out of the 64 or whatever 48 first round games. I mean, you can usually look at a count, look at the thing, and go, you know what? Well, these two are going to be the dogs of the group, and this was one of the dogs of the group stage.
And you know what I was thinking? We're going to be getting a lot more of those type of games once the World Cup goes up to 48 teams.
Hey, John, one quick question. You mentioned about the Cantores Fútbol de Primera. Do you know by chance what the rights are for radio?
You mean as far as how much he has to pay?
Yeah.
I've never seen any figures, but I know he's done really well with it. Because then, he makes his money back by, with the advertisers and this and that. So he has it has been a worthwhile investment for Andrés Cantor. He's done extremely well with that. So.
Are you thinking like the rights for radio? Do you think are in the low millions or upper?
I would have to think it would be. I don't think it would be any more than 10. But I think that he definitely over a 4-year period, because he also has the national team, and he's also has the Gold Cup, and he has I think he had Copa America when that was here as well. So I mean, he pretty much has almost every major radio piece in Spanish for soccer. He has it. So he and he's had the World Cup for a long time, and then people end up. Stations end up having to pay him for the rights to, so.
One thing that was interesting that caught my attention was how he referred to one of the, I think it was a Russian player as a Brazilian.
He was a Brazilian.
He referred to him as a Brazilian, though. It's like, okay.
But the guy is Brazilian. He's a naturalized Brazilian.
Yeah, but he's Russian somehow to be on the team.
Well, he's naturalized. He's a naturalizado, but he was born in. The guy's name is Fernandez. He was born in Brazil.
Yeah.
Chico, pareces nuevo, güey.
No, but I've never heard someone. Well, maybe I'm used to it from Mexico. Like Zinha was never called
Brazil. Are you kidding me?
Oh, come on.
Every time he touched the ball, he was called El Brasil Mexicano or whatever it is.
But
every single time. Every single time he touched
it. Some reason it seemed odd to me. I don't know why.
Because you just weren't expecting it.
Yeah.
And it's not to say that Andres was terrible or anything like that. I mean, he was still excellent. I just, I think we've all seen him perform, and I think he will. I think as the tournament gets through and some of the games become, more interesting and more attractive, we'll definitely see that.
I think it could also be that leading up to the World Cup, there was a lot of excitement, especially the day before with that impressive news that the game just lost its luster. It could be, right, Beto?
What? The memes?
No.
What did you say? I didn't catch you. I enjoyed this. This is like the first World Cup where you have the full internet interacting with memes and with jokes and chistes, bromas, and all this stuff. So that's sort of interesting. When I guess Russia scored the second or first, they panned to the to Putin and the FIFA dude and the king.
Yeah, Putin gave the king the wise guy. What are you gonna do?
Yeah, it's like, oh, sorry, man. Sorry, we're beating you guys down. But one thing I will say about the game is, and I might be totally wrong, but some of the plays that happened. I recently watched the Germany or the highlights of the Germany-Mexico game, and that Saudi Arabian defense sort of looked similar in instances to the Mexican defense, especially on that right side. How they left the guy open. Particularly that one goal where he passed it to the guy on the left, and he sort of chipped it over, not chipped it over, but popped it up right up to that player, and then with the right foot went in for the score. That reminded me of I think it was Hector Moreno. No, who was it on the right side? Layun just getting toasted by Germany in that Confederations game.
Because he's always peaking. He's always going up.
Yeah. Especially, he just had they were just tearing him up on that right side.
Something to look forward to on Sunday. Will Layun get torn up again or not? We'll see how that works out for Mexico. Well, outside of Andres Cantor and then the broadcast I guess it was Manuel Sol. The Telemundos, they're their sets, the graphics, they're obviously taking it extremely seriously with how they've set everything up. The one thing I think that they're missing, though, and I think that this is where when we saw, at least in the last one, I thought really helped themselves out, was having that sports channel, because to me the World Cup is a 24/7 event, and I think that for Telemundo to just do the games and then maybe do an hour afterwards and then go off and do their regular programming, I think you miss out a little bit on the flavor of the whole tournament. I think that's where. I guess the other ones will probably still have that, but that's where I think Telemundo can really step up their game, because they have this for the next, I think, 4 World Cups, at least the next 12 years. So is that to the next 3 or 4 World Cups? So they'll have opportunities to work out their kinks and figure out what works best for them and what doesn't. But I think
HD would be nice too, John.
Dude, I am telling you, get an antenna. You're in Los Angeles, dude. I know that Telemundo's over the air. It costs $15. There, go get an antenna.
$15.
Go to Best Buy.
I actually can't afford $15.
Yeah,
so I'm gonna. Do they still have Radio Shacks out there?
Just go to Best. I'll tell you, they have them at Best Buy. They have them at Fry's. They have them everywhere. Just ask for an HD antenna.
You can't record DVR it, but oh well.
Well, no, I can still DVR it.
You DVR the DVR the Fox feed.
Yeah, and then just if I need to watch something or rewatch a particular play, I could. But yeah, it's gonna be. I guess for these games, I don't really mind Fox so much. I mean, it's being played at a slight delay, which I'm
I'm a big fan of their lead announcer, John Straw. I think he does a really good job.
Yeah, I don't mind that. It's the Mexico games English broadcast team that I'm not a fan of.
Man, they have Marco Fabian's dad right now in Univision Deportes, and he looks exactly like Marco Fabian. I mean, no way you could not say that he is not related to him. It is a striking resemblance. I don't mean to interrupt Dan, but
no,
yeah,
that's fine.
Yeah. So,
are we going to be revisiting our picks?
Yes, we are. We just revisited. The picks for now. Rigo, you didn't get a chance to do picks with us, but what were your picks for Group A?
Uruguay and Egypt.
Uruguay and Egypt. So so it's funny. Half of us went Egypt, and the other half went Russia. So right now, I would have to say advantage Russia after the first match. So do you guys want to go through your picks, or do you want to jump right into the plato fuerte with Mexico? I leave it up to y'all.
I thought you were going to say Sage. Okay.
Me too. I thought you were going to say Sage too.
Hello, BBC.
We will get to that. We will get to Sage, of course. But that's what I'm asking. Do you want to do the trámite of going through the picks first before we?
No, Sage.
No, you want to.
Professor, without.
That's the wrong button.
You ever seen a grown man naked?
They don't want you to throw a curve, John. They want to go.
So this is what it's come to. We're on the first day of the World Cup. We're on the first day of what Joel has been quoted in the Los Angeles Times. Was it Los Angeles Times, Joel?
Wait, which quote? I had an article that
about your 4-year, but the 4-year that you live your life as a 4-year proceso.
Oh yeah, that was at for the LA Times. It was an article written by Hector Tovar, who did a weekly column, but he got into writing books. He wrote the book on the Chileans, the 33, which got made into a movie.
All right. Okay. With all that, you guys want to just jump right into the dick jokes.
Dick
Is that what we're saying? We have a whole World Cup tournament. You want to jump right into the talking about Sagas Wang.
Yes. I mean, that's not even the craziest thing in this World Cup.
Wait, I just wanted to ask Al because Saga's claiming it was photoshopped, and I'm sure Al has seen that video multiple times.
Is that what he's claiming, or is he just claiming that his phone was hacked?
No, that it was photoshopped.
Okay.
So Al, I know you've seen it multiple times up close to look for glitches and stuff. What is your expert advice on that?
I actually haven't seen it. I haven't seen it though, man.
Were you playing it backwards and forwards and backwards and forwards?
I think my phone was hacked. I haven't seen it.
You
back and to the left.
Wait, you haven't seen the video?
No, man, I haven't
pretty
seen
much in your face.
It's not the sauce. It's a very naughty boy.
I don't think I haven't looked at it extensively. I don't see how. Well, that's some pretty good photoshopping. That's some pretty good photoshopping.
Well, it would be Photoshop. It would be After Effects.
Whatever. Yeah.
But here's the thing. But here's the thing. Then the report. There's the picture, and I posted it on the Twitter on our chats.
That's a good picture.
Yeah, you see Sage, and you see like the same carpet, and you see the same room and room color,
the
and
mirror,
stuff like that. The mirror
wall, yeah.
And then there's a video. It was like behind the scenes where you have David Faitelson and Jose Ramon, and they're showing one of the production crew the video of Sage, and they're just laughing about it. And to me, what I thought was just brilliant was Faitelson saying "pobre way," as if. Because he's been he's been receiving, the jokes. He's been the butt of jokes for a long time now.
That was interesting hearing him speak that way.
And it's funny because he's the one that gets bullied online, and he says,
he's not getting bullied online. That is a fraternity of sorts that he's got going. I mean, those are his friends.
He loves the attention.
Yeah, those are his buds.
Maybe. But it's like, man, I can only imagine what the
you guys understand. You guys understand that if Mexico somehow makes it to the quarterfinals, Sage is going to be a freaking legend.
Yeah, he is.
I mean, that's why I'm hoping just for the sake of what we do on the show, that Sage did this on purpose, thinking I've got the best way to take the pressure off the Mexico national team. Don't worry, I got this. And then he goes and does that. I would just be it would be one of the more brilliant moves in PR history.
And it's also created one of the coolest hashtags ever, at least in my opinion.
Impresionante.
Yeah.
The thing is,
I'm gonna have to go back and look at all my pictures, because I know I have a shitload of pictures of Sage back when Club America during the Interliga and all the type of stuff, when they would come to the University of Houston. I'm gonna have to look at those pictures, because I may have to make some memes out of those.
What are you talking about, man?
I think he's trying to verify.
Man, hey, personally, I was impressed with the opening World Trade Center, but this is a piece of.
I'm trying to understand what you're saying, but
I'm saying that I'm gonna have to look back at all the Saga photos that I took, back in Houston, back in the day.
Why do you got to do that?
So wait a second, Ron. How long are you going to be in the Citadel looking for these pictures? Is it going to be
a long time?
Is it going to be an afternoon affair?
Why do you have to do that though? All you have to do is go to Instagram.
No.
He's got probably higher definition photos where you could really get in.
Let me.
He probably has like fancy software where he could like click, and then like you can get like a measurement from just clicking and like start comparing whether or not the video matches the anatomy.
The bulge. There's pleats in the pants.
I'm sure
optical illusions.
I'm sure you won't leave a single stone unturned. So
no, I won't.
Gladiators.
I'm not gonna lie to you, Dan. I spent all day long.
I believe you.
Watching.
I believe you.
I kept going from Paula Rojas' account to Martinoli's account to Luisa Garcia's account to Vic Falson's account. And
by the way,
it's
how brilliant of it was it of the Azteca guys to introduce Sage the way they did on there?
Yeah, it was awesome. It was awesome calling him a national hero.
I'm telling you, if Mexico makes the quarterfinals, they're gonna erect statues to the players. They're gonna erect statues to Sage, because now the chant. It wouldn't surprise me if instead of saying puto tomorrow, the Mexicans say Sage. I'm telling you.
Well, they've already had the chance. They already have two Sage chants.
I know, but I think that's what's going to happen. I think they're going to, and it's going to crack the players up, and that's going to put them at ease, and they're going to beat the Germans because of Sage.
Now, when the fans are chanting "La tengo como Sage," are they saying they're excited like him because they're at the World Cup, or are they just saying like I'm big like him?
I think I'm big like him.
I think that they're saying both.
Okay, because I was like, I wish I could. I like it. I think it's fun that they're doing it, but I'm not quite understanding it.
Maybe they're impressed to be there. That's what they mean.
Yeah, like that's why, like it's like we used to have an old saying, dicks are hard, bro. Let's roll.
Don't act like you're not impressed.
It's kind of like one of those things. So, but yeah, no, I think it's great. I think he's going to create a whole new set of new vocabulary. He's going to create like. He's gonna make Sagaso's gonna have a whole new connotation to it.
Well, if Mexico beats Germany, it's gonna be known as a Sagaso.
It absolutely will be. What a G!
I love.
He's single-handedly lifting Mexico to new heights.
I love how users that go into Saga's account, they start attacking him with believing it's Faitelson, and then it's like, oh shit, I forgot, it's the wrong account. I just think it's hilarious, man. It's like all those accounts are just morphing into one big pile of lols for me.
Well, let's see if that kind of creativity leaks into what they're doing at the stadium, because as Joel has pointed out many times.
Yes. I was actually going to Go ahead.
Let's be original. Let's come up with our own songs. Let's not just copy what Spain does or Argentina does or whatever. Let's and I like to say Italiano. That's great. How about singing El Rey, or the chorus of Guadalajara, or some of the other ones.
No, I agree. I agree.
So, and like I said, I want to hear the name Sage chanted by the Mexican fans in the Germany game, win or lose. I think it would be absolutely hilarious.
I think
it's going to happen.
Sage is better than puto. And FIFA won't penalize us for that because they won't know what the hell we're talking about.
Well, they will, but what can they do? I mean, it's not a...
Give us a hard time? Sorry.
Hey-oh.
It's very anti, like the opposite of being homophobic.
Yeah.
It's embracing it. Like everybody's just like impressed for lack of a better word, and
you know what I was thinking about that, like the whole homophobia in regards to the puto chant, and you know that the fans really aren't, because of like Salcido. He's well known to like trannies, and he's never gotten abuse over that. Like you would think they would yell stuff at him every time he touched the ball, but no one even cared. And he's been caught twice with ladyboy.
Regardless of whether what the fans' intention is or what their sentiment is behind it, I mean, it just doesn't really matter. The only one that matters is how FIFA interprets it, unfortunately.
Yeah, sure.
And they're saying, hey, if you keep doing this, there's going to be problems. Then just don't do it. It's not worth it. So hopefully, I mean, FMF on their Twitter feed put it out. They said, "No griten puto." Period. Don't yell it. That was their graphic. Before they were saying, be civil, blah blah blah. Let's be nice. Now they're saying, "Hey, dumbasses, don't yell this stupid shit." So hopefully, but Sage would be outstanding. It would be outstanding.
So you guys are saying this is a genius move by Sage?
Absolutely. It's like new. It looks like a huge mistake, like New Coke, but when you really think about it, absolute genius.
So there's no reason for Sage to take a few days off to go wherever Paula is to fix things up, patch things up a little bit, and because the drama or the controversy behind this, if this wasn't like a genius move on purpose, is that he sent that to some other woman, and it got leaked somehow, or she leaked it out, and now his wife is going to be upset.
Is she?
It seems like he's just on the show just happy as normal, laughing it off. So,
well, maybe it's not creating that much drama.
It's not drama. It's either not creating drama or it's fake in the first place, or it's fake and he just put it out there just for a distraction, and it is a genius move. So.
Wait,
and keep in mind though, he's not a player. I mean, kidding aside, the scrutiny is always going to be much stronger on the actual players than an ex-player.
Wait, isn't his wife running for some type of office?
That I can't say. Well, I'm sure she's
a reporter. She's a journalist.
Yeah, she's with Azteca, no?
Yeah, but she's Paula Rojas. No, I think she's with the Televisa. I think.
Televisa, yeah, Televisa.
But I think it's genius.
I know where you're going with it, Beto. I see where you're going with it.
There's a lot of marketing opportunities. I've seen like pictures of, instead of Duracell, it's Sagecel, Dura Más, like the batteries. Yeah. I read an article that they're putting more stuff on Mercado Libre, like it's like Mexico's eBay, with sake stuff. I think it's hilarious.
So how sad is it then, for Mexico to be in another World Cup, and here we are as fans, hoping, begging, that something would stir these guys into actually, playing where one would expect them to, for all the success they've had and really kind of progress they've made over the years, to be a perennial quarterfinal team. And here we are, begging for, to find, that one little something to, let them find lightning in the bottle. And right now what we're saying is the next player's Wang. Can the next player's Wang be that thing to get them going?
Well, John, I guess to that, I guess when you're expected to lose and you're going into it as the underdog, you need every break that you can get. And this, in reality, it's tiny. I don't think. I think the controversies of the party and the fallout behind that are kind of behind them for the most part, because they're kind of isolated at this point. I mean, I'm sure they're checking out the social media, but you have to admit, I haven't heard a single thing, hardly anything about escorts lately. It's just like you said it's all about Sage's Wang. So if that gives them the bit of relief from the crap that they've been getting for that party, then yeah, great. I guess it helps them. But yeah, from my standpoint, I mean, get every little advantage you can get. Anything that could help, it's welcomed.
So
I don't see this as an event, like this distraction or this whole thing, as helping or benefiting the team at all that much. Anyway, I think it's just a hilarious thing.
It's minute, but I think in the sense it's helping them, in the sense that it's just taking some of that attention away, some of the negative attention away from the team, even if it's temporary. We've seen the fact that the talk has affected the players, because the players themselves have recently put out statements about it. So clearly the nonstop coverage and on social media has gotten to them. It's gotten their attention. So yeah, I do think in that sense it is helping them, because at least now they can, not that they weren't, but at least this allows them to more easily concentrate on the task at hand.
So
I'll go ahead and say it right now. They're winning. They're winning.
Hey!
They're winning.
Well, yeah, that's good. That's good. I mean, I hope for that also. One thing that I thought was ridiculous, though, was Salcedo made some comments about Germany, saying that Germany doesn't have a Messi, Germany doesn't have a Ronaldo.
I thought that was beyond stupid.
And so, if that's, I know it probably is just Salcedo being dumb and just having his opinion on his own. But if that's an opinion or thought even around the whole team,
well, I think it's a true statement, but it's not something like you want to say, because that's just gonna motivate your opponent more, and you don't need to be trying to help the team motivate. You're not. I don't.
Well,
there's no. Sorry, go ahead.
I'm curious if he ended his quote like if he said, "Hey, yes, they're good, but they don't have a Messi, they don't have a whatever." But if he say, "Well, what they do have is an incredible, collection of players that make one of the best national team, blah 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 blah." If he said that, then I would be okay with it. But if they just use that little chunk,
I guess from what I read, it kind of came off like he's trying to make an argument for why they can win.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's just not the way to go about it. It's just like, you know what? Like, they're a good team. We're a good team. We feel like we can win. But like to say like, well, they don't have any superstars. So it's just ironic, considering the fact that the whether it's not the exact same players, that same team though still beat them 4-1 a year ago. So it just seems a bit silly in this place. Like, come on, dude, just shut up.
You might be the dense one of the group or something.
Yeah. It just seems like a bit of a dumb move.
Here's my devil's advocate question. Salcedo has played in the Bundesliga. He's been around Germans, more so than anyone on the that plays for Mexico. Maybe he's learned something about the German psyche that if you because they're probably not challenged very often. If you challenge them, maybe it kind of rattles them a little bit. Maybe that's why he did that.
I know that the German press reported on and they were pretty impressed with the 30 escorts for like 20 hours.
Don't act like you're not impressed.
And now with Sagas Wang, they may be feeling intimidated. I'm just saying, just throwing that out there.
Yeah, it's quite the 1-2 punch. No, but seriously though, it's not necessarily the best move by Carlos Salcedo there. And if Germany ends up winning that game 4-5-0, I'm sure that they will remind him as he's walking into the net collecting the ball what it was that he said to the Germans or to the press in the press conference earlier in the week.
One thing that comes to mind as Dan says that Mexico's going to win. If Mexico actually does win, maybe 2-1 or 2-0 or 1-0, then I could very easily see them tying or losing one and tying another of the remaining two games. Just because of
I do think this team is capable of doing all that for sure.
Yeah. So the win,
laying an egg for sure against maybe I could see it more against Sweden than South Korea. I think they'll handle South Korea. I'm just hoping that if they manage to pull off that minor miracle, that they don't like kind of let off and then allow them to like basically give up that third game and not really try to win it because they're already qualified. That's I guess a bit of a concern also because I know he likes to rotate, and I could see him doing like a wholesale rotation of players for that last game and then losing, and then they still end up qualifying second.
If by some miracle they do beat Germany, if they go to that third game knowing that they control their own destiny to get first place and avoid some really nasty teams in the draw, then they absolutely have to play that game like it's a knockout game. They have to win that game. Okay, so my question to y'all is, what is your realistic expectation for the best result that Mexico can get against Germany?
I see 2-1 Germany.
I see. You said the best expectation.
Yeah,
I would see them matching up. We hear like playing them 2-2. If Germany scores 3, I want Mexico to score 3. If Germany scores 5, I want Mexico to score 5. Right back at them, and end up with a tie. That would be my most probable best case scenario. And that would, because Mexico does have the firepower to score goals as long as they don't end up choking and missing like a Pecho Frio or whatever. But I see that defense giving up some goals, so they're gonna have to make that up on the offense.
Yeah, the defense is definitely gonna.
I know I'm reaching and thinking that and thinking they're gonna win, but I guess like the way I've been thinking about it is the fact that Germany themselves, they've had their own set of bit of drama, not quite as dramatic as Spain, but they've had their issues with their certain player not being called up, and maybe their form not looking super great leading up in at least according to these friendlies. But from the Mexico standpoint, I just think that this is the team that I don't think you're gonna. It's gonna be hard to come across a team that's played together this much, through a few coaches already. The bulk of the team is extremely familiar with each other. They're fond of each other. They're a close-knit group. I think that they're extremely talented going forward. There's some question marks in the back, but I do think that if they're able to score first and early, I think it could set a tone where they can come up with the shock result. And I don't and I do think that while he was stupid to say it, I do think it is a valid point. There is no one like that on that team that just scares the bejesus out of you, just that one player alone. Their strength is in their is in their collective efforts. I think that they can do some damage on the wings with Tecatito, Vela, Chucky. I think those guys can turn any defender. I don't care where country they're from. I think if they're able to get those guys the ball in space, they're going to be able to create chances. And
they just have to cash them in, is what the
they have to be efficient.
Yeah. Joel, what is your realistic expectation, Joel?
Real 2 or 3-1. I put 3-1 defeat. But I do think Mexico can pull a draw. We've seen it done. We've seen them do it before. Against Germany, against Italy twice. They beat France. They tied Holland. So they've managed in the past to defy expectations. So I mean, it's possible, but I'm still going with the defeat.
Yeah, I agree with you. I was surprised that Ron mentioned a. Can y'all still hear me? I'm getting
chopped up, John.
Well, I'm getting chopped up on my end, but
loud and clear.
Okay, just making sure. I do think that it'll be a loss. If it was a 2-1 loss, I mean, if you lose to Germany in the first round and you lose by 1 goal, then I mean, that would be a best case scenario loss for sure. I do feel like I think that Mexico's going to lose. They're probably going to lose by 2 goals. If they lose by more than 2 goals, then they're in trouble. So that thing where Osorio said, "I'm down 2-0. I need to learn how to manage that." You know, maybe will he learn his lesson? Because I think that it could happen. It did happen to him against Germany in the Confed Cup, and he, you know, kind of sort of righted the ship, but they still were able to get a couple more goals on him. I think that if he can, if they go down early again, which I think is very possible, then we're going to see what Mr. Osorio has learned and see how the players react, because that's, to me, the World Cup hinges on Mexico. Their entire campaign hinges on if they go down 2-0 in the first 20 minutes of the Germany game. How are they going to react to that? If they can fight back and get a 2-2 draw, fantastic. If they go down 5-0, se acabó. It'll be that simple for Mexico. So the minimizing the damage is going to be key, and you can say that for all the teams in the group. You know, you cannot get goleado, especially if you don't necessarily think that you have the kind of firepower to make up for it. So hopefully that won't be the case, but I do think that Mexico will end up on the losing end against the Germans, probably by a 2-0 or 3-1 or even a 4-2. So we'll see how that turns out on Sunday. All right, guys. So let me find my tiny little piece of paper where I wrote. Here we go. Where I wrote down the groups here. Now you guys, you know, we did discuss that we could make changes, you know, based on what we thought and what we think now, based on injuries and how things have played out, blah blah blah. So you guys can certainly make changes with your picks now. Chiquis, you had Uruguay and Russia. Do you feel Uruguay and Russia is gonna prevail in Group A?
Yeah, I'll stick with that.
All right. And Joel, you had Uruguay, Russia. Are you comfortable with this pick? Are you gonna exercise your right to make a change? You're comfortable, all right?
Especially after the injury to More Salad.
Okay.
He might not have recovered in time. I think that was their big hope.
You are letting it ride.
Yes.
All right, and Dan, you had Uruguay, Egypt. Are you confident in that, or have you decided that it's time to make a switch?
I'm not going to switch, but no, I'm not confident. But who knows what Russia's going to do in those other 2 games?
That's true. This could be their only win.
So, yeah, 3 points is not going to get you through.
All right, so
yeah.
Dano sticks with Uruguay, Egypt. I'm also going to stick with my Uruguay, Egypt pick. I kind of agree with Dan. I think that Egypt can beat Russia, and I'm pretty sure Uruguay can beat Russia, and I think that they can both beat Saudi Arabia pretty comfortably. So I think that that's what's going to give them the edge in the group. All right, moving on to Group B. We'll go through our groups and then we'll jump back deep into Mexico. Group B, we have Chiquis. You have Spain and Portugal. I think everybody has Spain and Portugal. I think even Ron has Spain and Portugal. I don't think Ron's with us anymore. He's not.
Yeah, that sounds good for me.
No one is gonna throw out a Morocco or an Iran. Joel?
No.
Same. I stay the same.
Stay the same. All right. Next group we have Chiquis, France, Peru. Joel, France, Peru, and Dan, France, Peru.
I changed my pick. I'm going to go with Denmark.
Dano has picked Denmark.
France, Denmark. Yeah.
We will make a note of that. We'll see how we're doing. So, and Dan. All right. I have France, Denmark. I will also make a change here. I've exercised my right to make a change, and I'm going to go France, Peru. I feel like I owe it to our friend of the show, to Peru. But I'm shocked at myself for not picking Peru earlier because they're one of my soccer crushes. Joel, are you changing your France Peru pick?
No, sir. Same.
Chiquis?
No.
You have France Peru. You're sticking with it.
Sticking.
All right. Group D. We have Joel saying Argentina, Croatia. Dan, Argentina, Croatia. Actually, I had Croatia, Argentina. I have Argentina, Croatia. Chiquis has Nigeria and Argentina.
I'm gonna stay with that one.
Boys, are you staying with your Croatia, Argentina?
I switched mine too. I went with Argentina, Nigeria.
So Dano is going. That's actually. I was reading some stuff on Croatia, and apparently they're making some of the same mistakes they made in Brazil, just in style of play and things like that. Where maybe Nigeria could squeak, but I think that they're going to finally put it together. I'm going to stick with mine and go with Croatia. All right, Group E. Here's where it gets interesting. Well, not really. Everybody picks Brazil, Switzerland. Let me see what the. Yep. Brazil, Switzerland. It's too bad that Ron is not with us for Group F because he did say that Germany was not going to qualify. Yes, Dan.
I was going to say that I kind of changed this one more out of want and hope. But yeah, I guess I got Brazil and Costa Rica.
Dan going Brazil, Costa Rica.
I'm trying to set up that sweet
that sweet round of 16.
Yeah.
Did I have Brazil, Switzerland?
Yes, you did, Chiquis. Everybody has Brazil, Switzerland.
Jeez.
And also, what is the probability that every one of these European teams is going to go through? No way. That's why I'm just like, no. I gotta.
It's yeah.
There's always surprises. There's teams that like. There's always an Africa team that gets through. Usually, there's always European flops. There's I can't imagine that every single South American team is going to get through. So yeah, I just like these things don't typically play out just like as the percentages say they are. So that's why I was like, I started looking at the schedule, and I do think the order of games matters, and I do think that it'll negatively affect some of these teams.
I'll go ahead and change that also.
Damn, Dan, you have convinced Chiquis to change his pick. What are you going, Chiquis? You going Costa Rica?
Yeah.
Serbia.
I'm gonna go Brazil, Costa Rica.
Well, all right. So Chiquis also. We have to write.
Not that I like Costa Rica or condone rooting for them just because they're CONCACAF, but.
All right. So Chiquis goes with the Ticos. All right. Group F. Everybody has Germany first, Mexico second, except Ron, who has Mexico first, Sweden second. So anybody making any changes? Actually,
Yes,
I'm sorry. Wait. Joel had Germany, Sweden. Joel had Germany, Sweden. All right. What was your change, Dan?
I got Mexico topping the group.
Mexico topping the group. All right, Dan.
Oh, that would be sweet.
Dan Mex won.
So then we would play. Mexico would play
Costa Rica.
Oh,
Yes. Hey, man. We can hope.
That would be good.
And that's a be careful what you wish for type of thing, because I'm sure everybody was licking their chops in 2002. So.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Hang on, just let me just get it out of the way before we continue.
Good.
All right. Group G, England, Belgium. Although a couple. I'm sorry, Joel. Did you want to change your pick? Germany, Sweden. Are you going to stick with it?
I'm saying that is.
You're keeping it?
Yes.
Okay. Germany, Sweden. Chiquis, are you changing your pick?
No.
No? I am not changing my pick either, so we'll see how that turns out. All right. Everybody has England, Belgium. Actually, I'm the only one who has England first, Belgium second. Everybody else has Belgium first, England second, including... Actually, Ron picks Panama over England. He goes Belgium, Panama. Anybody want to make any changes there?
No, mine's going to stay the same.
All right. Joel, are you sticking with your Belgium England pick?
Yes.
All right.
Did I have Belgium England?
You have Chiquis says Belgium England. Yes.
Okay. Yes.
All right. And let's see. Group H, Colombia. Everybody has Colombia. Whoa, actually, there is quite a variety here. So I have Colombia, Senegal. Chiquis has Colombia, Poland. Joel has Poland, Colombia. Dan has Colombia, Senegal, and Ron has Colombia, Japan.
Hey.
So everybody picked this one totally different. That's hilarious. This is the group that everyone is that there's no agreement on at all. So Chiquis, Colombia, Poland.
Staying.
Joel, Poland, Colombia.
Staying.
Dan, Colombia, Senegal.
I'm staying.
Actually, I have Colombia, Senegal too.
Yeah, I'm keeping those.
I'm sticking with that pick as well. And Ron had Colombia, Japan. All right. Moving on to our round of 16. Let's see. We have I have Uruguay, Portugal. I say Uruguay. Dan has Uruguay, Portugal. He says Portugal. I'm sorry, Joel does that.
Yeah, I'm changing mine to Uruguay over Portugal. Portugal.
All right, this is like way too complicated. I'm gonna have to figure this out. I cannot read my own writing. This is hilarious.
I actually had wrote mine down on my notepad, so I could read them. So you don't have to worry about mine.
Oh, that's hilarious. So you kept that.
No, I redid it because I was like, I haven't really put any thought into this really when we first did it, because it was just like kind of like gut reaction. What do you think? And I was able to look at the schedules, look at the teams a bit. Not a whole lot of research, but I did end up changing some stuff.
Actually, I'm starting to decipher what I've done here. So do y'all want to continue with this, or do you want to go back to Mexico, or you want to maybe why don't we go back to Mexico and we'll come back and do our quarterfinals or our knockout stage in a little bit. So we're back to Mexico against Germany. So Joel, you say loss. Dan, you say win. Chiquis, did you say draw, or hoping for a draw, expecting a draw?
I think the best outcome that they could possibly get would be a draw, but I don't think that would happen necessarily.
Okay, so
are we talking predictions, or are we just?
No, not predictions. I'm just I guess your expectation. I expect
a loss. I expect a loss, but a tie would be nice.
All right. So that leaves the rest of the group. Then obviously then the Korea game becomes huge. That they absolutely without any prejudice have to win that game if they're to have any chance at all of getting the opportunity to not even qualify, but getting the opportunity to try and qualify for the knockouts when they play Sweden. So Dan, earlier you said that you think that's a game that Mexico should win comfortably.
Yes.
Or do you think that's a game that they should just handle, not so comfortably, but just
yeah, that's a game that's a win that maybe I shouldn't take it for granted, but yeah, they're going to take that win.
Okay. Joel, do you feel the same way? You think that's a game that Mexico should win comfortably, or does your crystal ball tell you differently? The Korea game, because you don't have Mexico advancing in the tournament. So where's the pitfall?
Goal differential. I do think they're gonna beat Korea, but it might not be by a lot. And a big reason is, a lot of the delanteros haven't been doing good. Probably the one that's been performing the best is Vela, but we've seen a drop in form for like Chicharo and Oribe and some of these other guys. So yeah, I think Mexico, it will come down to goal differential, and it might be just like by a minimum, like maybe a 1 goal differential difference probably.
You're painting a very bleak picture. So you also believe that they're gonna win against Korea.
Yeah, but it might be by like 2-1, something like that.
Well, I mean, it's if that's the case, then the only way that they would be in any kind of well, I guess depending on what they did against Sweden. So, but if Mexico beats Korea after losing to Germany, regardless of what they did against Germany, they control their destiny.
Well, I don't have them beating Sweden. So I have them losing 3-1
to Sweden too.
No, to Germany.
Right.
And then if they win 2-1, they're still at a -1 goal differential. So then they probably tie 0-0 or 1-1, but they'll maintain that 1 goal differential.
Yeah, but my point is that, I mean, I know that, so you're saying that, but my point is that they're going to have, the opportunity to.
He doesn't think they're going to beat Sweden.
I understand, but that they have to. Yeah, okay.
That's simple. I hope you're wrong, Joel.
Well, I think Sweden wrong. And we saw it against the latest games de preparatoria that they played against Denmark and Iceland, and Mexico struggles with that type of team, with those type of teams, and I think.
But to be fair, though, Denmark is at least. I mean, I've been trying to do, like I said, some research on these teams because I do not have that much free time. But everything I hear is that Denmark is quite a bit better than Sweden.
Yeah, I know, but Sweden did eliminate. Well, they went over Italy, and in the past World Cup, hey, they held their own against Argentina. This was way back though. It was 2 when they were in the group with England and they were with England and Argentina and Nigeria, and they managed to advance from that group of death. So I think Sweden, and I don't think they're under the same pressure as Mexico.
Well, one of the things, the advantages that Mexico does have against Sweden is the fact that, outside of Iceland, I would have to wager that Sweden is the European team that Mexico has played in friendlies more than any other. So they should be very familiar, or at least have enough tape to.
Yeah, but how many times?
See the style of play.
How many times has that been there under 23?
Yeah, but okay, but I mean, if they play the same style, what difference does it make? You would still know what to expect, wouldn't you?
To an extent, yeah, but I mean, we're still facing like.
Well, no, you still have to play the game, but but they're not going to surprise you. Is my point. It is a winnable game for Mexico.
I think the one reason that I'm feeling extra hopeful lately, besides what I saw in some of these friendlies, but is Tecatito seems to be in form, and I think maybe him and Herrera, in my opinion, are the 2 most important players. That if they're on, we got a chance. I saw enough out of Tecatito already where I know I feel pretty confident that he's going to be a thorn in everyone's side.
Has there been a match though where Mexico has won or turned the tide because of Tecatito?
Well, against Honduras,
Venezuela.
Oh, that Venezuela one. I think that's probably the only one I've seen.
Well, Dan pointed out the qualifier down in Honduras, and then also there was the goalie scored against Canada, and he's had some moments.
And I don't think that there's anyone that can defend him. I think if Mexico plays smart and they're able to spot him, where they swing the ball to the opposite side and give it to him with yards of space, then that's it. Like that's going to be the formula, and I think that's basically going to be the formula. The same thing, and switching it to the other side to Chucky. Like I think the key to really cause damage is to have these guys get the ball with space to run at defenders, get past that defender, and then see the defense start to crumble, start to shake, and then that's where you get your chances. That's where either they cut in and they take the shot from there, or they lay off and just start creating some some one-touch passing back and forth with some of the forwards. So I do think that he alone though. I think he's going to win us some games. That's how much confidence I have in him because players like that just they're rare. That you could just give a guy a ball and then he's going to be able to create chances for you, possibly take on 1 or 2 defenders and like it's just a really rare commodity that I don't think Mexico's ever really had. Not like him.
So I think we just need. I agree. I think we just need to hope that he does keep his form high because I think it is good, as well as Chucky. I think Joel does have a point that the form has gone down slightly for Chicharito, Raúl Jiménez, Oribe.
I hope that Juan Carlos Osorio he's really evaluating the players and the team, how they look and how they're actually scoring in training. Because I know, John, we talked about this before, where the possibility of just not going with a striker and just go with 3 forwards or 3 kind of wingers, essentially, where they can kind of float around and you know, just go where the play leads them.
I would be very excited to see Juan Carlos, to see if you know, at some point in the match, see both Lozano and Tecatito and Vela as the three forwards.
And I did see this one really interesting formation where it was more of a, I don't know, like more of like a 4-2-3-1.
Yeah, I think you're thinking of the same one I am.
Where it looked really interesting because you had like Jonathan Dos Santos and Guardado playing in a defensive midfield role where, you know, them one alone is not enough, but by committee, I think they can pull it off. Give a little bit of give some decent protection and for the back line, and then you have the space where you have Vela playing kind of in the 10 role, and then you have Chucky, either Chicharito or Raúl, and Tecatito on the wings. It's like, man, that would be crazy. I don't think anybody's seen that. It'd be interesting. And I don't think it overly exposes the defense if they play it like that.
Has he played like that?
No, I don't. I don't recall seeing him.
So this didn't happen in the Scotland match or in the Denmark, because I didn't get to see the Denmark match at all. So I was on a truck, so I did not.
I
haven't had a chance to watch any replays.
I was thinking more of. I think Tom might have put it out where you have, because I still think Chicharito or Raúl or Oribe is still needed, because Tecatito is going to make all these cuts and runs, and he needs someone to pass to. So I think a Chicharito up top, Tecatito and Chucky on the wings, and then down below Vela. I think Tom posted that up, or somebody did, and I sort of like that because Vela can hang back and receive the ball and make runs. But I don't know how it's going to affect the midfield. But I do definitely like the wings to have Tecatito and Chucky.
Do you want to see them play at the same time though? Because I mean, you're going to miss. The problem with having both of them on the field is that they don't really contribute that much defensively.
Yeah, that's the.
And you know that's
my concern is the adjustments. Is that and then you're one.
Well, they played that way in a friendly, and I think one of them definitely.
Well, that's why I guess if he lines up how he's been lining up, then I would hope that they keep Tecatito on the bench and just have him torch defenses around the 60th minute. Because at least I do think that you can definitely turn a game with the right substitution, and I think in a close game. If Tecatito's already out there, then who are you going to put in? Aquino doesn't exactly inspire me with confidence, and while I've been one of the bigger Gio defenders, I don't want to see him play against Germany.
I do believe that that if Tecatito does start on the bench, he will definitely be a pick. You know, I think that Marco Fabian is going to be a second half substitution in all the games. If he doesn't start, because he has really impressively become a much more well-rounded midfielder than he was in Liga MX, and has an outstanding long-distance shot, which will definitely come in handy in the second half. And I don't think that anybody that Mexico has on the team has a better shot than Marco Fabian, and he absolutely has to play in these World Cup games. So, and then the third one would probably, depending on whether they need to score or hold, will either be a forward or a central. Or somebody or Rafa will be coming in. Rafa to shore it up, or a forward to go get one. Is the way I see that breaking out. So what about the Sweden South Korea game? So do you guys believe that that Sweden's going to win that game pretty comfortably too?
No. I don't know why I held in high regard, not in high regard, but I think Korean teams, Asian teams in general are dangerous. I think they have...
Typically, I would agree with you, but I think, again, from the reports that I've been reading about South Korea, they're not in a good spot. If this is a lesser version of the teams that we've seen in the past, so that's why I'm like Mexico should beat them. Like Mexico should beat Sweden. There's a reason they're higher ranked, I think. And I know like maybe you can't draw too much from history, but like Mexico tends to bring it in the group stage. It's afterwards that they tend to have nothing left. So, but I'm not worried that they're not going to qualify to the group. Maybe I'm being a little naive or maybe just overly confident, but I don't see, maybe not top the group, but I don't see them losing against either of those teams, and I don't see them not winning. I guess that maybe there's a possibility to tie against Sweden. I'm sure that they're not complete pushovers, but I've seen the way like the team played in because I know as Mexican fans we tend to be really selective with our memory. We remember the Denmark game, but we don't remember the Belgium game. You'll remember the scoreline, but you won't remember like the 10 chances that were created. So it's just taking it all into account, Mexico's done pretty good against some of these other teams that are supposedly better. And granted they're only friendlies. So, but all things being equal, I think what they did against Belgium showed me that they could hang with most of those teams. So a team like Sweden that they had to do a lot to get in. I'm not particularly scared of them.
One thing that you can say about Juan Carlos Osorio's tenure in Mexico is that he has beaten the teams that he's supposed to beat.
Wait, what?
He's beaten the teams he's supposed to beat.
Only in qualifying, because the Gold Cup.
He did it in the Confed Cup too.
Oh, you mean like the group?
Yeah.
But not in. Yeah, well.
When Mexico is favored, he has delivered. In whatever tournament you want. The only one where he hasn't was when Jamaica beat them in the Gold Cup.
And I think it's a sorry argument because dude wasn't even there for one. And
that's right. He wasn't
team
even
wasn't really
right?
there. I mean, there was a couple players that have made it from that debacle, but that wasn't the real team. So
and it wasn't even coaching.
I think that's just one to just forget. That if anything, like at least it allowed players like Edson to shine. Where I think that Gold Cup got him where he is now, because his season wasn't all that great. He didn't play all that much in this last season. So obviously, his performances with the team gave Osorio enough confidence to include him.
Diego Reyes was not medically cleared. He wasn't able to recover in time to play in the World Cup, and then they replaced a versatile player who can play as a wing back, as a defensive midfielder, and as a central defender with a player who is either a left midfielder or a left or in a pinch a defensive midfielder. Somebody please explain that to me.
The Eric Gutierrez?
Yeah.
I think Reyes was replaced pretty much by Salcedo and Alvarez. The defense is set pretty much there, and then
so Alvarez is getting playing time. He's probably going to start against the Germans. I say why not throw him out there? What the hell?
Yeah, and so that they're not really missing too much with.
So you're saying this could be a blessing in disguise?
Well, a lot of people are saying that. I don't want to be too rude, even though on Twitter I was a little bit rude. But Yeah, I don't see a big loss with Reyes being out.
Addition by subtraction.
Yeah, and it seems like Osorio doesn't see too big a deal either because he keeps a guy who's, like you said, is not even in the position in Gutierrez as a replacement for him. So it's like,
well, see, that to me tells me that he wants if Rafa is going to be his Rafa. If Rafa's going to play, he's going to play defense. Is what that tells me, that he's thinking of Rafa as a defender.
So what
I also think he's kind of fibbing though. I don't think he's. I think what he's doing is. I don't think for some reason I think he's maybe just not admitting this, but I think he's concerned and wants to make sure that there's a cover for Guardado, like that plays more like him as opposed to some of the other guys that he's suited up in that position, like Marquito or even Giovanni. I think he'd be a decent substitute for him.
Yeah, no, and not only that, but I mean, there's no guarantee that Guardado's even match fit. At least to go a full 90. Although I do think that Marco is going to be the sub there. So I guess he's hedging on that side of the field. You know, one thing I will say about Gutierrez is that he is an excellent passer of the ball. I mean, he's probably the best passer of the outside of Herrera in the midfield. So definitely something to keep an eye on. Let's keep an eye on there. Chiquis, is there anything going on our chat? I should probably look.
Sergio just came on earlier. Omar and Bobby were chatting a bit. We have some a guy agreeing. I forget his name. A guy in agreement with Dan and the confidence in Mexico beating Germany. Eduardo D. What is it? He posted his picks. Actually, he said a tie against Germany, beating Korea, and beating Sweden, topping the group.
If they could tie the Germans, you know, that gives them just the slightest possibility of getting that unbelievably helpful first place. Could you imagine if Mexico ends up winning the group, sending Germany to play Brazil in the round of 16?
Let me see what he has for Germany, though. So Germany tie. Oh, he says Germany ties against Sweden. And then they beat Korea 5-0.
Wow.
That's the only way that tie is what essentially puts Mexico up, I guess.
Right. Well, crazier things have happened. I mean, there's certainly no point in discarding that. I mean, it could certainly happen for
and Germany. What were they in their friendly? They didn't look too good. They lost.
Dude, they tied Cameroon in their friendly in 2014, and Cameroon was terrible. So I wouldn't even. There's no point in paying attention to anything Germany does at a friendly. You know, they're probably
maybe they're smart. Maybe they just like whatever. This is a friendly. Don't even matter. It's not like a preparation.
I remember that draw, and then everyone was scared about facing Cameroon.
Yes, that's right. People were panicked about Cameroon. There's like a couple of really big guys. You're thinking, man, that could really cause some problems for some of the smaller Mexican players. And in Mexico, you know, Giovanni got hosed in that game twice. He scored 2 legitimate goals in that game.
They could have had the first hat trick.
Yeah. I mean, he had him in the first like 20 minutes or whatever it was, and they took them both away. It's terrible.
Yeah, that's when I got worried because I figured this is how you lose games sometimes.
Oh yeah, there's no question.
It's very difficult to score goals.
And that rainstorm they were playing, it was insane. I remember I looked at the radar, and that rain was like the size of almost like Iowa, just this huge storm that was just sitting there spinning, wasn't even moving. It was just going to pour the whole game, and they got it done. It was you know what was amazing about that is that as hard as it was raining, there was not one puddle on the field. So the field was draining extremely well. Was very impressive. All right, gentlemen, let's go back to our picks. Though, so I have deciphered my little chicken scratches here because I have to look at both places to see what we have. So we have the round of 16 coming up, and I picked I had Uruguay, Portugal. Then I said Uruguay advances. Joel had Uruguay, Portugal, and he also says Uruguay advances. Dan had Uruguay, Portugal. It says Portugal advances.
I have a Uruguay.
I'm sorry, Uruguay. It was Chiquis that Portugal advancing. Chiquis that Portugal advancing. My apologies. So you guys are happy with that?
Yes, sir.
Yep.
All right. So next game is where's game 50? There it is, game 50. We have I have France, Croatia. I say France. Joel has France, Croatia. He says, I think that says France. Dano and had France, Argentina. He says France. And Chiquis had France, Croatia. He says France.
Yeah, mine got all mixed up since I changed it. So in that round of 16, I have France topping Nigeria.
All right. Chiquis, are you happy with your pick there?
France topping Croatia, yes.
All right. Joel, you have France topping Croatia?
Yes.
All right. So make sure that that's right here.
Then you got the Spain going up against Russia or Egypt, I guess.
Right. Yeah. That's I'm going in order of games here, just so I don't totally lose my mind. So 49-50 game 51 is the Brazil-Mexico game. I have Brazil. Joel has Brazil, Sweden. He has Brazil. Chiquis has Brazil, Mexico. He has Brazil. Dan has Brazil, Mexico. He has Mexico.
So yeah, I changed it also. So I have
Germany, Brazil, Germany.
I have Germany. I have Brazil beating Germany.
Wow. Dan, you're like in another dimension with your picks right now, Dan. It's crazy. Crazy. All right, game 52. We have I have it's England. Who do I have? I have England against Senegal, and I go England. Joel has Belgium, Poland. He goes Belgium. Joel, Belgium, Poland. You sticking with your Belgium pick?
Yes, sir.
All right. Chiquis has Belgium, Colombia. Sticking with Belgium.
Yes.
And Dan has, according to this, Belgium, Senegal going to Senegal. Dan, is that how you see things happening?
No, I switched it to Belgium.
Chinga.
I know. Yeah, I know.
All right. Game 53. So Spain, Egypt. I have Spain. Joel, it was Spain. Russia has Spain. Everybody has Spain. Anybody changing that pick? Either Spain, Egypt, or Spain, Russia?
No.
Even with the change, even with the coaching change.
I think that's going to bite them later. I think they have enough to get through these guys. Those opponents.
All right. Joel, you're sticking with Spain? Con la madre patria, Joel, con la roja. Hostia, Joel, no vayas a cambiar tu elección, Joel. Por favor, no lo cambies, Joel.
Same.
Te quedas, Joel. Te quedas con España. Okay, Chiquis.
Yes.
Everyone's sticking with Spain. All right, game 54. I have Denmark. Well, I changed my mind to Peru. Denmark, Argentina. I have Argentina. Joel has Peru, Argentina. Joel says Argentina. Dano here had Peru, Croatia, said Peru. But I think we've made some changes, Dan. Is that correct?
Yes, that is correct.
What do we have now?
I guess Argentina, Denmark, over Denmark.
All right. And Chiquis had Peru, Nigeria, and he says Nigeria. Chiquis didn't like that one.
I'll stick with it, though.
Sticking with it. All right. Game 55. Germany. Well, this is it would be Germany, Switzerland. Everyone here had Germany. But now it's going to be Mexico, Costa Rica. Dan, who wins?
Mexico.
All right. So everybody has Germany except Dan has Mexico. All right. Game 56. I have Belgium, Colombia. I say Colombia. Joel has England, Poland. He says England. Joel picking England for the quarterfinals. I would say Tom would be proud, but we found out on our show here that Tom is not really an England fan, which I thought was very interesting. You know, that was actually fascinating how a country as soccer crazy as England is, where the national team just isn't, nowhere near as popular as the club teams. Just a totally different dynamic than in Mexico. Very strange.
I think it's even more interesting when you consider that this seems to, I don't know how they compete in rugby, but at least in the Olympics they compete as Great Britain. This is the competition where they get to actually just represent their England proper. And it just seems odd that you'd figure you'd get even more jazzed up for something like that. But
yeah, but I mean, as he mentioned, he said that you drive down you go through from town after town, and there's like 4 or 5 clubs in each town, and it's just it's just a different culture altogether. It was fascinating. I wish I had no idea how the whole atmosphere around it. All right. Anyway, back to the picks.
Wait, real quick.
Yes.
Real quick on England. They've been doing really good in youth. So they won the under 17, under 20, and they just won the Toulon.
They did. They came from behind. The Mexico had gone up 1-0, and England came from behind to win 2-1. And
so I think they're gonna. Yeah, they should be pretty good favorites for the Olympics, and man, they're gonna have a good, buena camada of players to choose from.
Right. I mean, even Tom had mentioned that this next World Cup is going to be the one where he expects England to be, mentioned among the favorites. So, but based on what the results they've been getting on the youth level, we can certainly see how the expectations for that have increased for the folks in England that do follow the national team, because apparently not as many of them do as one would expect. Although I will say there was a documentary called One Night in Turin. Have y'all ever seen this? About England's 1990 campaign, where it was kind of like it is in a lot of self-loathing, and then as the tournament going on, they kept winning. They won they got out of the group stage, and they won the round of 16 on a crazy goal, and then they had that crazy match against Cameroon where they went down 2-1 in the second half, and then equalized, and then got the Lineker got the winner. What was a penalty kick in extra time, and then they played the semifinal, and of course the country was totally enraptured. So maybe if England have a long run, maybe that'll maybe they'll get more fans than what they seem to have in England. All right, we have Joel, you have England. Poland, say England. Chiquis, you have England. Colombia, you say Colombia, and Dan has England, Colombia. He says England.
I thought I had Belgium, Colombia.
Oh, did I give you the wrong one?
I had Colombia. I at least I have now Colombia winning.
I'm sorry, Chiquis. It was England. England. No, it was England, Colombia.
Yeah.
Let me find that other game. Hang on. Oh, you know what? Let me see Chiquis' picks here. I gotta go down to the other sheet. Chiquis had Colombia, Poland, and England, Belgium. So would it be in England, Poland? I'm sorry, England, Poland, and you have Poland winning, Chiquis.
Oh dang.
Yeah.
Let me. Well,
you can. I mean, you know, you're well within your right to change it.
Yeah, I'll change to England.
All right. Chiquis changing it to England. All right, so we have quarterfinals. I have Uruguay, France. I have France winning. I'm going to keep that. Joel has Portugal, France. He says Portugal. Joel, you keeping that?
Muted.
Oh, Portugal. I was talking. Portugal over France.
Yeah.
Man, why don't we let the group stage finish before we cover the things again?
Well, I'm just going through what you had. You believe me. After the group stage, we will fill out our chart again. So what you're saying is you're sticking with Portugal.
Yeah.
All right. And then Dan had Uruguay, France. He said France, and Chiquis had Portugal, France. He said France.
Word. Sounds good.
And then the real tasty one was the Spain, Argentina. Except for Dan, who had somebody else. I'm not sure what you have now. But most everyone said Spain.
I still have the same matchup. I have Argentina winning.
Yeah. All right. So I have Argentina winning too. And then Joel said Spain, and Chiqui said Spain. And then in the quarterfinals, I have Germany, Colombia, with Germany winning. Joel has Germany, England, and it says Germany and penalty kicks is what I wrote down. Joel, you're so mean. You're so mean to the English. Dan has whoever he has Germany winning, and Chiqui's I guess here Chiqui's it's Mexico. Is it Mexico, England for you? I'm sorry for Dan. It's Mexico, England.
Yeah, I guess on my bracket right now that I'm looking at, I have Brazil beating Belgium and Mexico beating Colombia.
Mexico beating Colombia. Interesting.
Oh, dang. That's quinto partido, right?
Yeah.
So they go in semifinal.
That's already going.
God, could you imagine if Mexico somehow,
if it lines up like that,
quarterfinal, and they get freaking Colombia in the quarterfinals? I mean, could they? I'm not saying that they would win the game easily, but it would be a game that they can. I mean, they could absolutely win. Wow.
It's not terribly. It's winning the group, man.
And
if
it's not
win the group.
Yeah, exactly.
If they win the group, these are the possibilities that, like, the avenues that open up. You avoid the Giants.
That's let the Giant. That's crazy. Yeah. Okay. And then let's see. The last one we have. It was Brazil, England, or Brazil, Belgium, and almost everybody has Brazil winning that game. So I don't think anybody's going to deviate from that. Now, my semifinals, I think I confused things here. I thought it was so I have let me see who the matchups are in the semifinals real quick, and then I'll because I think that everyone has they're going to have the same semifinals, but I want to make sure that they get the matchups. Let me check my trusty little calendar.
I believe, I could be wrong, but I believe it's Brazil, France, or Brazil, maybe Germany.
Yeah, so it's the 1A, 2B, so that's this one. Right, yeah, so it would be France, Brazil. You're right, it would be France, Brazil for almost everybody except for Joel, where it would be Spain. I'm sorry, for Joel it would be Portugal, Brazil. and then the other one then would be
Germany.
It would be Argentina or Spain. For Dan, it would be either with Germany, or for Dan, Mexico.
I know.
So Spain or Argentina. So that would be the Spain Argentina versus Germany, or if England or Colombia, whoever gets through, that would be that side of the bracket. So there you have it. And then the winners have. Did I write the winners? Surely I did.
I remember doing it. I think I had Brazil, Germany winning.
Chiquis, yeah, I have that.
I have France winning Brazil and Argentina beating Mexico. Luck runs out.
Well, you have to be realistic.
At some point.
You can't be a fan. You can't be a fan through the whole thing.
At some point, I have to become somewhat realistic, yeah.
At least Mexico lose to Papi.
That's true. And
but wouldn't that be something, though? I mean, at least they still get themselves a third place game against according to my bracket, against Brazil.
So who's going to be your World Cup champion then, Joel, after you've done your extensive bracket?
I have Brazil.
Dan?
I have France.
Yeah, France.
Yep.
Chickies? You say Germany, right?
Yeah, Germany.
I have Argentina. Winning the tournament. I think it's going to happen for Messi. I think that this is going to be his finest hour. He's going to go out, and if that means that he gets to beat Mexico in the semifinals, so be it.
Have there been back-to-back champions?
Yes. The last ones being Brazil in 58-62.
Yeah. And Italy.
And then Italy had done it previously in 34 and 38.
So that was a long time ago. And that's...
champions have repeated, though. At least repeated final. For example, Brazil made the final in 94, and then they made it again in 98. Germany made the final in what was it, 86, and then in 1990.
They made it in 82 as well, so 82, 86, and 90.
Wow.
But that just goes to show, though, that winning it, though, is tough.
Well, see, I mean, and that's why, yeah, you're right. It is absolutely tough, and that's why I just, as optimistic as I want to be on Mexico, I've watched the Germans. I'm 40 years old, and I have never seen a bad German teams, lose in the quarterfinals. Good German teams win the World Cup. This is a good German team. If Mexico can, and I'm speaking in all honesty, and really, if they can hang to where they only lose by, a maximum of 2 goals, sadly that's going to be a good result for me. They cannot lose 3-0. They cannot lose by 3 goals. They just absolutely cannot lose by 3 or more goals. It just can't happen. So it's just, I believe
Germany plays Sweden second, right?
Yes, they do.
So I think that bodes well for Mexico too, because in theory, let's just assume that they do win and that they walk away with 6 points. Germany is the type of team that's like, all right, we're going to rest some players, and maybe they don't beat, but that's still enough to beat, like to slap around in Korea. But they're still going to get the full effort against Sweden, and I think that's going to be those 2 pivotal games of what kind of results between Germany and those 2 teams. I think that's going to be the big determining factor of who progresses. And I think if Mexico does the unthinkable, then, like I said, I think the possibility to win the group is there. And
by some crazy
say that they don't. Sorry, go ahead.
I'm just saying, if Mexico, if they for whatever reason end up playing, regardless of what they do in the first against play Sweden, that already has 6 points in their game, then Mexico is going to be in trouble. But but I don't necessarily think that's going to be the case. But I think that's going to be the scenario where Mexico won't have a very realistic chance of advancing if they can get the win and maybe even a draw against Sweden, like they did in 2014 against Croatia. And I think that Croatia team was better than the Sweden team that Mexico is going to be playing in this game. So. But as Dan has pointed out with his bracket, if Mexico can somehow finagle winning the group, then it makes the road through the knockouts much more manageable for a team like Mexico. So it can certainly happen. So we've heard your expectation, Joel. What is are you sticking? You saying 3-1 Germany?
Yep. Yeah, I think I'm just going off of the Confederations game, and Mexico was thoroughly outclassed, and that was their mixed team.
So go ahead.
Yeah, I just don't think much has changed since then. I mean, there's been a slight drop in form in Germany, where they hadn't won any game previous to, I think Saudi Arabia was their last match. But I think when it comes to, it's like you said, when it's game time, the Germans just, they just know when to bring it in.
Right. So Joel says 3-1. Dan, you're going with the win. What's your score going to be?
4-3 or 3-2. That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, so it's not going to be a 1-0 squeaker.
I don't think so. I have trouble believing that Mexico won't concede more, and yeah, I could see a high scoring game. Maybe but I could be totally wrong. It could be like a 1-0 game. So, but yeah, I think 3-2.
So Dan, based on that, do you think Mexico's going to have to outscore people to win, knowing that the defense is not their strong suit?
I think they're going to have to outscore a team like Germany. I think they could eke out a win against Sweden, and eke out against South Korea. I think they could. I don't think they're going to be overly impressive. I don't think they're going to mow people over, even if they against the lesser opponents. They haven't shown that's in their DNA. Even when things are going really well, they seem to once they seem to be comfortably ahead. They seem to start squandering chances. Where I don't see them being that clinical. But I do think that they can play up to Germany on the day and just be a lot more clinical with their chances. But I think that they'll somehow make it difficult against those other ones, but do enough to get the win.
Sergio Cruz on the chat says 2-1 Mexico. 2-1 Mexico.
A huevo.
By Sergio Cruz. Sergio El Abuelo Cruz says 2-1 Mexico. Chiquis, what is your predicted score? What does your quiniela say, Chiquis?
I'm gonna think 4-2 loss. They at least score 2 goals.
Chiquis says 4-2 loss, but they get the 2 goals. Okay. I do think that Mexico's going to lose. I think it's going to be in the worst way possible. I think that they're gonna get a 2-2 draw in like the 85th minute. So you're thinking, oh my God, we're going to get a point, and the Germans are going to stick one like they always do, right at the death, and it's going to cost Mexico the win, and they're going to lose 3-2. And it's going to suck.
The Confederation game I felt that they were toying with Mexico a little bit and could have done that. So I can see how that could reoccur. And if they want to score, they will score.
Yeah, I mean, Germany can score at will against Mexico. I mean, there's no, yeah, and that is the one thing that does worry me a little bit about that Salcedo comment, because, you know, I mean, if the Germans decide that, hey, we're gonna, you know, play it, you know, at 100% of the, you know, and just mow your ass down, they can certainly do it.
Especially since on the opposite end, Joachim Low praised Mexico, said that they're going to give all their effort, and said they're dangerous. So
yeah, I don't think Germany is going to underestimate Mexico. I think they know who they're up against. I mean, they played Mexico before at the World Cup, in '86 and '98, and those were not easy games for Germany. So I think they're just not going to think it's going to be a walk in the park. Even though they're favorites, I still feel they're gonna be cautious.
Well, I thought that same thing when they played Portugal in the first round of the first group, their first group game in the last World Cup in Brazil, and they just came out and just smoked Portugal. They were up 3-0 in the first 20 minutes, just smoked them. That's what worries me about this game. But I do think that Germany is gonna.
Well, I don't mean cautious in that sense, you know. Like, I mean they're gonna take their precautions as far as like they're gonna do their homework. They're gonna know who's capable of what.
So we have 3 losses. We have 3 losses and a win, and I would assume that Ron will have picked Mexico because he's not expecting Germany to advance out of the group stage. And I'm not sure. I think Rigo. I'm not sure if and then he's probably expecting a loss as well. He's not. Rigo, I can't put words in his mouth, but I'm pretty sure he, at least in the past, he's been very bearish.
I don't know, man. He could be pretty optimistic. You know, even with Chivas and he's even taking Cardoso.
I think that when it comes to Chivas, he's a lot more optimistic than when it comes to Mexico.
Yeah.
So, but I can't speak for him. Yeah. So we'll see how that pans out. Now we have games tomorrow, bright and early. The first game is Uruguay Egypt. We'll see if Mo Salah has recovered completely from his shoulder injury. I think he'll be fine. And then we have the first Group B matches, which we have Morocco, Iran, which will be followed by Spain and Portugal. So we'll see some interesting matches tomorrow. And then Saturday is that crazy four-game day, which I really like. I loved it last year because I think the game started like at noon and went all the way to like 10 o'clock. It was outstanding. It was a quadruple header. So there'll be a quadruple header, but it starts for me at 5 a.m. It starts for you, Joel, at 3 a.m. But you're going to be at your if you're at your gig, then you're good to go.
Yeah, I'm pretty much getting paid to watch it.
God bless you, Joel. You know, you are doing the Lord's work. You are doing the Lord's.
Someone has to do it, John.
All right, but just to reiterate, you are not picking Mexico to advance. You think that goal differential will do them in, and Sweden takes their spot.
Yeah, I hope I'm proven wrong though. I mean, I get a lot of flack.
Who's giving you flack? No one's giving you flack tonight.
Not here, you know, in general. In general, they think I'm anti.
You mean all of the anti-Osorio things you have said have made people think that you're anti-Osorio?
No, anti-Mexico.
Why would they ever think that, Joel?
Just anti-Mexico in general.
You're negative, Nancy.
Yeah, I don't think people like to hear that stuff.
Debbie Downer.
He's a
negative
Nacho.
Nacho.
Negative Nacho. Yeah, I mean, and I get it. It's every 4 years and all that.
Well, I mean, you have been quoted, Joel, in the LA Times. I said that you live your life as a 4-year proceso.
You have a good memory, John.
So if you don't get the results you want in 2 years, Joel, do you fire yourself and then hire yourself as your new self?
No, I mean I'm just playing the odds. I'm just going with what I figured the odds are of that, and I pat myself in the back. I've been pretty good with that, in the past, as far as like predicting who advances, who doesn't. So, but that's the good thing about the World Cup. It's full of surprises. You never know what could happen. Just like the Russia game, Russia has been really bad team. So I mean, Saudi Arabia is worse, but at the World Cup, you at least go down swinging. 5-0 was pretty disastrous for them. They might as well pack it in and go home.
Yeah, it's gonna be tough for them to recover, and and like you said, Russia's probably the second worst team in that group.
Yeah, and then we've seen France win the World Cup in '98 and then go home in the first round in '02.
And we saw that again in 2010, and we saw it again in 2014.
So yeah, those things happen. Just for me, the odds are not that good,
What if Mexico beats Germany 5-0?
That would be one of those games, it would be monumental. It'd easily be one of the best games for Mexico. But seems a bit unlikely.
England once beat Germany in Germany 5-0 to qualify for a World Cup, and they sent Germany to repechaje.
That was with Sven, right? Sven Goran, yeah.
That was at the turn. This was just before the information explosion, so you still didn't know what results were until you watched them on the highlights at night. And I remember watching that one, and I was like as jaw-dropping as when Colombia had done that to Argentina in Buenos Aires in '93, when everyone thought that Colombia was the reason why people started thinking that Colombia was going to be the team to beat in the U.S. World Cup for
they were one goal away from eliminating the Argentines.
Yeah,
who went to repechaje against Australia.
That's right.
It was. Yeah, these things can happen, but I just don't hold on to them, John.
No.
I mean, it's usually worked against us, like in '02 when we go up against the U.S. and we end up losing.
Well, apparently, Joel, Sergio El Abuelo Cruz believes in the players. It doesn't sound like you believe in the players, Joel.
No, I don't.
That's fine.
I don't. Actually, I don't.
You don't? Okay.
I have in the past, but not so much. Not so much. I mean, we've had like a Cuauhtemoc. I don't see us having that type of player right now. I don't see us having. And
what was it about Cuauhtemoc that you don't think any of these players have? Is it his guile?
Yeah, and his overall attitude, man. This guy, it doesn't matter who you put in front of him. He was, it didn't affect him. He had that mentality. I think probably you've had like Hugo Sanchez and Marquez, but fortunately Marquez is way past his prime, and I don't think we have a player of that caliber anymore. I mean, we have players that are exciting, like Tecatito and even Chucky, but they haven't done anything yet at the world stage to prove that they're at that level. I guess this will be their shot. This World Cup, this is where they could show it. This is where they could prove it, but it remains to be seen. I still haven't. And a lot of us were that's why a lot of us were so down in Osorio after the Centenario, because that was one of the tournaments where we were all expecting good things from Mexico, and instead, Quieta Cero, Boda Roja. So, those are some of the reasons why I haven't seen it from the players where they stepped up and they've made a big difference or a big impact.
that Cuauhtemoc attitude, I think, is the mentality he had is really a good point, because I don't think the players have that. They try hard, I think, to have that type of confidence and everything, but they don't have that durability that Cuauhtemoc had.
What I'm gonna tell you this, to me, was one of the biggest things Cuauhtemoc did at the national team level, and that's he was at the forefront of the teams that beat Brazil. So this was the first time Mexico had beaten Brazil in official matches and in finals, nonetheless. So the first one was in '95 Gold Cup, and it was the final. Granted, it was a lot of the under 23 for Brazil, but so the Mexico team was mixed. It was a mixed team that Bora took, under 23 and some of the older players. But Cuauhtemoc was one of the main stars of that show, and to beat Brazil was pretty big. I mean, because now you have
scored 2 goals in the game, if I remember right.
Yeah, now you have it as a reference. The next time you go up with them, it's like, we've beaten that team before. So then again, it happened in '99 Confederations Cup. You see again Cuauhtemoc, and then again they beat Brazil, and that was Mexico's biggest trophy at the senior level. But with Cuauhtemoc now, you have 2 trophies where they won beating Brazil, and so after '99 you have what was it, or 03? Which one was the Gold Cup in Mexico?
03.
Yeah, it was 03, and again they beat Brazil. And I don't remember if Cuauhtemoc was there, but you had that reference now of like, we've beaten Brazil, and then 05, you got the team going up against Brazil again for the under 17 Youth World Cup, and these kids, they've seen Mexico beat Brazil, so when they're going up against them, they know that, it's like, we got this, we've beaten them before, which I think is a big reason Mexico managed to pull that draw in Brazil. To draw Brazil in Brazil, they're hosting the World Cup. It was a big result, and I think that was a big reason,
it's one of the reasons, Joel, why, because of what you said over the past 20 years, Mexico's history with Brazil, more so than any other country, has been relatively positive. I mean, there are not many countries that can say that. Not even, not Argentina or Uruguay or anybody. And if Mexico does advance to the second round, I do think it's going to be in second place, and I think they will play Brazil. But I think out of all the gigantes, I think Mexico has as good as Brazil is, and they're outstanding. This is a great Brazil team, but for whatever reason, Mexico has proven over the past 20 years that they get, that they play Brazil tough. And I'm not saying that they're going to win, but I know that it's going to be a hell of a game.
Yeah. So I mean, that's a massive player to have, to leave that type of, to get those type of results, and then to open that window. But I think in recent years, especially after like maybe Marquez, he kind of went down in like his level of play is not what it was when he was at his prime. But since then, we just kind of haven't had a player like that. Chicharo kind of came close because he was at Manchester, he was at Real Madrid, and then at Leverkusen, and he's like he scored the most goals of any Mexican since Hugo, which I think he's at like at 100 goals. Which is pretty impressive, even with compared to a lot of like South Americans that go to Europe. But at the national team level, Chicharo just hasn't made that much of a difference. And in the past 2 World Cups, he even the last World Cup, he wasn't a starter, and he's probably not expected to be one in this one as well.
I do think we'll see Chicharito start against the Germans. That's just my.
I think he's.
So,
one thing about the Brazil team and the German team, Sergio brings up, we can play Brazil tough, but we will get blown out by Germany. He asked that question. I think Germany like we've talked about, can score at will on Mexico. But I think if they go up 4-0, they're gonna have mercy and they're gonna be like, let's stop picking on this little kid. Whereas with Germany beating Brazil 7-1, they were like, Brazil's a big team. They're a giant. Let's crush them. And so they just kept on pounding on them. And that's sort of the difference. Yeah, I mean, I don't see. Yeah, it makes perfect sense. Sergio thinks it doesn't make sense. Germany has shown in the past that they just trashed Brazil.
Well, it's not just Brazil. Well, I mean, Germany has shown in the past that they trashed Mexico.
Yeah. Well, no, I also want to make a point to Sergio. It's reference. What references do you have? Because Mexico plays a lot against South America, especially because of Libertadores and then Copa America. We have all these years of matching up against those teams where you kind of get this type of confidence. So the mentality when going up against European teams, it's I would say it's still very negative, just because we don't have that many, referentes. We don't have that many big games where we said, okay, we've beaten these teams. It's mostly been negative results. I think if you go to the World Cup, just go through the list of games that played against European teams, and it's a grim outlook.
And a lot of it also has to do with just familiarity and confidence. I mean, Mexico has never beaten Germany. I mean, Mexico has come. The only time they've ever come remotely close, we're talking about in official matches, was in 1998.
Didn't La Volpe had them?
Yeah, but that was a Confed Cup third place match. I mean, it was the closest thing to a friendly that you could get in an official match.
And didn't they beat us with one man less?
No. The Mexico had one man less.
Oh,
but
Germany had one man less.
Kikín almost had a hat trick against Germany.
No.
Kikín almost had a hat trick. But anyway, but Mexico has gotten an important results against Brazil. They've won, as Joel just pointed out. And Joel, you also have to throw in the Olympic Games. Olympic Games, Mexico beat Brazil.
And you know what, John, by that, when we got to that final, when Mexico I felt confident. When I was like, I think, Mexico could win this.
I mean, I take it about Mexico, and now this is in the youth levels. Mexico did beat Germany in that great game in Torreón, where they scored. And this is how they had to beat them. They had to beat them with a gol olímpico
and a chilena.
That's how they had to beat Germany.
And at home.
Exactly, at home in 95-degree heat. So that's what Mexico has to do to beat Germany.
Yeah, and you know what? There's the thing. Going back to that, the whole word of the day, referentes. Those players aren't even around. I mean, who made it out of that team that you could say is currently in the national team?
None. And that was the point I was trying to bring up with Tom, because he was talking about how the 05 team hasn't accomplished that much, and I'm thinking, dude, that is, they've accomplished about as much as they could accomplish as any team in Mexico could. They won a bunch of gold cups. They won the gold medal at the Olympics, and they've taken the one step they haven't taken is to go deeper in a World Cup, and this is it. Mexico is one of the oldest teams in this World Cup, and we still think of these guys as these youngsters, and they're not. I mean, Chicharito's 30. Giovanni's, all these guys are either 29 or 30. This is their last. If they want to say that that they want to confirm themselves as the quote unquote golden generation, this is the World Cup for them to do it. They want to make a quarterfinal run or a semifinal run to affirm that yes, this is the greatest generation of Mexican players that has ever played. You got it all in front of you, boys. I'm like Dan, that there's no doubt in my mind that this team has the talent to accomplish that. And I think if they can put it together, get lucky, but then take advantage of the luck. I mean, a lot of times teams get lucky, but then it doesn't pan out. If that can happen for Mexico, then it's sure. But the unfortunate thing for me is Mexico is weakest in the worst place to be weak, which is in the central midfield and your defenders. And against a team like Germany and even Brazil, I think it's just going to be. It could be rough, but that's why they play the game. So hopefully they will prove me. They will prove me wrong. Well, gentlemen, we got the next 30 days of hopefully some great games. I'm looking forward to this. I hope that if the group stage can match the level of intensity and entertainment that we had in Brazil for the group stage, then this is going to be an outstanding group stage. Because I do think that group stage was the best group stage I'd ever seen.
I do see. I don't know if it's going to match it, but I do see this being a really fun World Cup. I think we're going to see some really good games.
Let's hope so. Let's hope that these teams have fun with it and not be as tense as we've seen teams playing tournaments. Hopefully that won't be the case. Let's hope for a fun, entertaining, lots of goals, lots of surprises. As Dan said, and I agree. It's great to see some new faces in the last eight, like we had Senegal one year, and Cameroon, and Ghana, and Uruguay. Not Uruguay's a simple face, but
I think we spent too much time talking about Saguinho. I think we skipped over U.S., Mexico, Canada getting to host the
2026 World Cup.
Yes.
Sí, Saga sigue de trending topic.
And so I think Mexico has something to build forward to. I think if the Federación is smart, they could start planning to have a team for that. Like you said, John, they're going to be host in 2 countries.
In 3 countries.
Yeah, they're going to have the home field advantage. And they play pretty much in every stadium. So I think it'll be interesting to see what's going to happen. What do they have set up for that? Because I do think just being host, I'm imagining they're going to be seeded, and that's going to improve their chances of winning the group. Chances of winning the group, you avoid some of the tougher teams early on.
Well, remember what's going to happen, Joel. It's going to go to 48 teams.
Yeah, 3.
So that means it's going to be 16 groups of 3 teams. So I'm thinking, if I'm not mistaken, I think that what they're going to do is have that's going to be, what is it, 4 games per group? So they're going to be 64 games there, and then from that, do they do the 80 games? Is it? Yeah, and then so you have to win the group. You absolutely have to win the group to advance. There ain't no coming in second.
Yeah, but I mean, as seeded team, they should have a fairly accessible group.
Right, and yeah, I mean, because you're going to play one real dog. I mean, a real dog. It's going to be because it'll be a team that's ranked. It'll be the bottom 16. It could be like Thailand or somebody like that. Anyway, yeah. So you have to win your group, and then you advance. Then you advance to the knockouts. I personally think that they should make it let the top 2 advance, and then play a round of 32, and then that to me is where the real cup, the real World Cup would start.
Oh man, well, chavos, I have to. This is where I get off.
No, it's definitely time for us to say goodnight. So Joel, thank you very much for joining us.
Yeah, thank you, John.
Dan, I admire your enthusiasm and your optimism. I hope that it's contagious, and hopefully that you will You will look like a genius when we reconvene.
I hope I do too.
We'll call you Daniel El Genio Preciado.
Otherwise, I just hope it doesn't set the tone for an unhappy Father's Day.
That's very true. That's very true.
So yeah, I'm hoping for a Father's Day gift. I'll say it loud. I'll put it like that.
All right, Chiquis, happy Father's Day to you as well.
Yeah, thank you. Should be a fun next few weeks.
Yeah, it's gonna be very entertaining. Very entertaining for y'all. I'm sure. I know we had a lot of folks participate on the chat. We do appreciate that. Thank you, Sergio and Eduardo, and I think it was Omar that was on the chat as well. We do appreciate y'all listening. This has been the CantinaMX podcast. I want to thank Ronnie De Luna for joining us and Rodrigo Ayala for joining us earlier. Rodrigo's on a bunch of podcasts. You can catch him on the one, I believe, the Soccer Scumbags podcast, and of course on Chivas del Norte. So we do appreciate Rodrigo hopping on with us as well as Ronnie De Luna. I want to thank everyone for joining us. So you guys enjoy the rest of the World Cup. We'll be back on with y'all next week. Hopefully around the same time. We'll have a lot. I'm gonna try and see if I can get some good audio for everybody, so we can have some fun with some of the stuff that's happened over the first week of the World Cup. Do appreciate y'all listening. My name is John Jagu. This has been the CantinaMX podcast. We are on every Thursday night on our YouTube channel live, and of course you can listen to this and previous editions of our podcast. Download it straight to your phone on iTunes if you're on the podcast center if you subscribe, as well as on Google Play. Talk to you guys next week. We will catch you guys again at the CantinaMX podcast. Thanks very much for listening.